And it is, let me just make sure I have my mic turned on. Yes, I do. I have a problem sometimes with forgetting to turn my mic on when I go live. It is
I've done that
Monday,
before.
April 3rd, 2017. Welcome back to Rhevs Palaver. I'm your host, Rhev. With me today, I've got a really good friend that I've made on Twitch, Cal. Cal, aka Winbykayo. How you doing tonight, Cal?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Wife and I went out for dinner, so if I seem a little sleepy, not. It's just I'm full belly.
Oh, right. That kind of sleepy, yeah.
Yes,
Carb coma.
yes, exactly. You
Yeah.
feel me.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to just say a quick hello to some of the guests. I'm gonna go ahead and say regular friends of mine who are tuning in chat. Katie the Turtle, Cortraption. How are you both doing? And Anthony, how are you guys? How you all doing tonight? So, I think you're in for a treat tonight. Cal is one of the people who I routinely watch on Twitch. A lot of times you hear with the big streamers, people say, "Oh, what are some of the other streamers you like to watch?" Like, I know Kriparian and Toast get that question a lot. Those are two of the other big streamers I like to watch.
Yeah, sure.
And if I was asked that question, I'd be like, I watch Win by KO.
That's very kind of you, man. That's very, very kind. You've also helped me a lot as well by like setting up the stream and helping me fix Deck Tracker that time as well, because that is just an absolute nightmare. So, yeah, yeah, and I haven't reciprocated as well. I don't think I've ever actually watched your stream live. I need to stop taking and start giving a little bit. But
I understand. Family man, lovely wife,
thank you. Yeah, she is lovely. I
hilarious,
agree.
hilarious kids who try to prank you with fake cans of chocolate.
Yeah.
I understand you're busy, man. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no, but I need to start giving back a little bit to the community. But yeah, no, thank you, man. Very, very, very kind words. Yeah, I
Well,
think you come into my stream every single time I broadcast. I think you've missed maybe one.
well, in fairness, it's because I wake up and my brain is usually not active right after waking up.
87%, right?
Yes, it's usually either 87% still asleep or I'm only at 87% efficiency, one of
Yeah,
the two.
yeah, that's fair.
And so you're what I watch as I drink my morning coffee or Diet Coke and sort of wake up. Uh, and then of course then I've got morning stuff that I got to get done, feed the cat, wake up the wife, etc. And so I have no guilt about walking away from your stream, and I know you'll be okay with it. But
Yeah, yeah. I kind of take the morning shift when it comes to Hearthstone. That seems to be my niche. So I'm happy with it.
and that's what we're talking about today. I want to get into it because we only do about an hour on Revs Palaver, and we got a lot to talk about. It is as I said, it's the third, and on the 6th, Ungoro Crater comes out for Hearthstone. This is what their fifth expansion, full card
I
expansion.
think it's the fifth. Yeah.
So let's see. The first one was Goblins versus Gnomes.
Yeah, Goblins versus. Oh, was it the? Oh, I should have this information up. But Goblins versus the Goblins versus Gnomes, and then Whispers of the Old Gods.
Nope, Grand Tournament. So I think it was Goblins versus Gnomes, Grand Tournament,
Grand Tournament.
Whispers of the Old Gods, and then Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, and now this will be their fifth with.
Yeah. Oh, you forgot Karazhan as well.
Well, okay, but so those were the adventures. So those weren't full expansions.
Yeah, that's fair.
So then
That's
we got
fair. Yeah.
yeah, the adventures were Karazhan, Blackrock Mountain, Naxxramas, and the Explorers League.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So I guess you could say they've had 9 expansions total. Well, this will be their 9th if you count the adventure modes. Now,
Yeah,
one
that's
thing
fair. Yeah.
that's actually the first thing I want to get into, which I think is really interesting. They said that they're not going to be doing adventure mode expansions anymore. So for those of you who aren't super familiar with Hearthstone, the way it works is the adventures previously were, instead of a full expansion with like 100 plus cards, it would have like 40 or 50 cards, and then player versus environment PvE experience instead of PvP, which is what primarily Hearthstone is.
Yeah.
And they said they're not going to do adventures anymore, and they're going to sort of roll them into regular expansions.
I think that's a bit of a shame, to be honest, because the one thing that the adventures were good for, it's a really, really good way to get legendary cards,
Hmm.
basically. That was a really, really good way, like, because a lot of people, a lot of really, really influential legendary cards were got from just doing adventures. Like, you've got Reno Jackson, you've got Sir Finley, which was really, really like prevalent in all kind of like a lot of aggro decks. You also had that Justar Trueheart, the one that gives you the massive
You
buff.
you are naming some of my least favorite cards, just so you
Yeah, no,
know.
no, 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 me too, me too. Like, I'm happy that they're going. That's another aspect of it as well, because not only is this I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but not only is this a really big expansion, like it's a big, it's a big expansion. There's a lot of new mechanics coming in, but there's also a lot of stuff rotating out of standard. Like, no more Reno decks is a huge deal, like a really big deal. And I know
Thank
this
God.
guy in front of me cannot wait for there to be no more Reno Jackson, which I kind of have to agree with, to be honest. I'll be happy to see the back of him.
Yeah, I mean, for every card that okay, so again, just to explain, because I do know that we have one or two people that are watching who are not super familiar with Hearthstone. They
Yeah.
know of it, but they're not really into it. So Hearthstone's been out for about 3 years now, and recently they introduced something called standard format.
Yeah.
And standard format is it is going to be only cards available in the last year. And so the current year is coming to an end on the 6th. April 5th is the last day of the year of the Kraken. And the year of the
Yep.
Mammoth starts when the new expansion in Girl Crater comes out. And this will bump out uh, Goblins versus Gnomes, and the Grand Tournament will now be bumped out of Standard,
Yep.
along with Naxxramas, Blackrock Mountain, and Explorers League, which were the adventure modes. So
Yep.
all the cards that were in all of those that I just mentioned are now they will not be in Standard anymore. So
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, and there's some key cards there as well. I mean, certain decks, like one deck that I play a lot, which is called Miracle Rogue, is losing. It's losing Conceal. It's losing Tomb Pillager, and it's also losing Azure Drake. Azure Drake is being put into was it in the Hall of Fame? Is that what they're calling it? Because they're taking out some other cards as well.
right. So Conceal and Azure Drake are being also those are basic cards, so those should never leave play. But Blizzard has determined that a couple cards are just too powerful, and they're basically putting them into a vault. They're saying, okay, these are Hall of Fame cards. No one's going to be able to use these anymore. And it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the last deck you played that didn't have Azure Drake in it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the thing is, with the problem is with the State of America Rogue right now, anyway, is that people play Quest and Adventure, and this is going to get a little bit geeky Hearthstone wise, but like, so I'm sorry if I alienate anybody, but when you put a Quest and Adventurer down, every single time you play something, it gains 1/1 every single time. So if you just play another couple of cards on top of it and then conceal it, you can have like a 5, like on like turn 4 or 5, you can have a minion that's worth about 7 that's concealed. There's no way to deal with it. You hit 7 the next turn, and then if you conceal again, you've basically just won the game. So I can completely understand taking out conceal, because it stealths everything on your side of the board,
Yeah.
and there's no real way to deal with that apart from something clunky like Lightning Storm or something like that, or a really good Maelstrom Portal. So I understand why they're taking those cards out, but yeah, Miracle Rogue is gone, and there's another couple of key ones as well, like Totem Golem and Tunnel Trog from Shaman. They are from the Shaman class. They're getting rotated out as well. Tunnel Trog being rotated out is a big deal, because I think that might be one of the most broken one drops possibly in the entire game. Like, it's a 1/3, but every time you play an overload, it gets more powerful. I mean, that's
I would
pretty
say
insane.
I would say it's the last big broken card. I would say it
Yeah.
was not as broken as Small Time Buck
Yeah, before the
was.
nerf. Yeah,
Yeah, but they
definitely.
nerfed
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah,
um,
and rightfully so.
yeah, yeah. What's really funny is I watched a YouTube video earlier today, and one of the Hearthstone developers posted on the Battle.net forums and talked about some of the cards that they were developing during the Gadget Zan cycle. And Small Time Buccaneers original incarnation was unbelievably broken. It was, you played it, and when you played it, the battle cry was that it gained +1/+1 for every point of power your current weapon had.
Oh my god! So if you played that with that 5-drop Reaper weapon,
you would have a 6/6. Yeah, yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Well, they realized real quickly that that was never going to work when they were playtesting it, and a warrior coined out a Fire War Axe on turn 1, and on turn 2 played that, and it became a 5/5 on turn 2, and summoned patches, and then they played another 1 mana card in addition. They played like another pirate on top of that. It's like,
yeah, or you can upgrade or something like that. That's just I mean that's insane. But even though it wasn't that, Small Time Buccaneer wasn't that insane before the nerf, it was still the most ridiculous card ever. You could basically fit it into any deck as well. It didn't matter unless it was a excuse me, unless it was a Reno deck or something that didn't play weapons or something like that. Then you couldn't. But anything else, any aggro deck, and you were playing Small Time Buck. There was no doubt about it.
Yeah. It. So I mean, and we know that Small Time Buccaneer was broken even in the state that it was released in because it needed that nerf. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned. So you told me you have had a chance to look over the Ungoro cards, and
Yes.
anyone who watches my stream knows that I spent 2.5 hours last night going over them. So I'm not gonna rehash last night's 2.5 hour stream where we go over everything. But I think there are potential for some very broken cards in this coming expansion too.
Yeah, which ones in particular? I'm curious.
Well, you know what? Let me pull up my little list here. There was a couple that that got me right off the top of the head. Okay, there's some that I think you're going to see a ton of play. Let me just look. I think. Hang on one second. I'm sorry, because now I'm looking through the list. I apologize. I should have made better notes. Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple that are just absolutely terrible. God, why do I do this to myself? Hang on a second.
Of course, the cards have disappeared.
Okay,
now.
Here we go. Hallucination. Rogue class spell. 1 mana. Discover a card from your opponent's class.
Yeah. I saw that one.
1 mana, and it's not
one mana.
not from their deck. It's from their class. So
Yeah.
if you're going up against a miracle, let's say you're a rogue, and you're going up against a dragon priest, they may not have a specific card in their deck, but you might draw a really powerful, like you might draw like mind control, even if they don't have it in their deck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hallucination being 1 mana is pretty crazy. I mean, I play a lot of rogue. I'm gonna be playing that card. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's just. I don't know what rogue deck isn't gonna have hallucination in it.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't think what type of deck archetype would you have to make to not include hallucination. I mean, it's just going to be a go-to card as far as I can see.
It's going to be an auto include in every deck, rogue deck. I'll tell you what other decks or what other cards I liked. So there's a neutral, warlock, and a warrior card. The Tar minions. So
the Tar minions. Yeah, right. I noticed them as well. They're cool.
The neutral is a 3-drop that's 1/5. The Warlock is a 5-drop that's 1/7, and the Warrior is a 7-drop that's 1/11. And each of them have taunt, but then gain extra attack when it's not your turn.
That's an interesting mechanic.
I love those.
Yeah.
I love those. One second, I'm just getting a little note that my volume's a little bit low. Give me just 1 second, Cal. I apologize.
No, no
What
problem,
I'm
man.
going to do is I'm actually going to turn you down just a little tiny bit.
Okay.
And
I got a loud voice.
nah, normally it's weird because normally I'll leave it right there. That's fine. Yeah, these tar creatures, they're amazing in the sense that like the neutral card, for example, it's a 3-drop. So they're putting in these low cost. I noticed they're putting in cards that seem like they might want to be played in aggro decks, but they're not good for aggro decks.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't, if you're playing an aggro deck, you wouldn't want this thing. But it's a very good defense against aggro decks.
Very good defense against aggro. Yeah, is that the Tar Creeper? Yeah.
Yeah, Tar Creeper is the 3-drop. Tar Lurker is the Warlock 5-drop, and then Tar Lord is the Warrior class 7-drop. But
yeah, sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, no. So I feel like all of those. The other one that really jumped out at me, there's a neutral 4-drop called Tolvir Stone Shaper. It's 3/5, and if you play an elemental last turn, you get Taunt and Divine Shield.
Oh yeah, the elementals as well. That's another interesting thing as well. You got the new, you've got the new what do they call it? The new clan.
Yeah, right. The new clan. I just feel like anyone who's going to put in any, I mean, it's Ascension Shieldmaster with Divine Shield.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting. How about you? What cards have sort of floated your boat?
Well, there's a couple that seem to have been made directly just to try and control Pirate Warrior a little bit, which I'm really really happy about. There's one called Golaka Crawler. It's a neutral card. It's a 2-mana 2/3 beast. Battlecry, destroy a pirate and gain 1/1. I think that's going to be an auto include in basically any deck. I mean, 2-mana 2/3 actually isn't that bad by itself. Like, it's not amazing, but it's not, if you just had to play it as a vanilla minion, it's not too bad. But destroying a pirate and gaining 1/1 is really strong, especially against Pirate Warrior. And Patches is still going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like in the new expansion, there's no doubt about that. Patches is not going anywhere. So with Patches, the neutral cards you have with Patches, you've got like, you've got the names. You've got 2 1-drops that are neutral that are really really good. So it'll be, God, I should be more prepared. I cannot remember what those cards are called now.
Hang on, let me look at my list here. So you're saying neutral card?
Yeah, they're neutral cards. They're one drops, so they're really really good for getting Patches out on. I'll explain Patches quickly. Patches is a legendary card. When you play a pirate, you summon Patches from your deck. He's a 1/1 and he's got charge. A seriously powerful card. So people didn't realize it at the time.
One of the cards you might be talking about is Glacial Shard. It's a 1-drop neutral minion. If you're willing to hold on for 1 second, I want to try one thing and see if I can pull these up on my stream. So
yeah, that's no problem. I should have been more prepared.
No, that's okay. Let's see if I can do it this way. Anyone watching, you might see a freak out for just a moment here. Bear with me. Put that on, and oh, good. Look at that. So let's put that right there. And there we go. Giant Wasp. So there's Glacial Shard. I can probably make that a little bit bigger. Let's move it over here to the edge. Fudge. And okay, so anyways, I don't have Patches up, but you were explaining what Patches was.
Yeah. But well, I explained what Patches was, but basically that Golaka Crawler is going to be really really good against Pirate Warrior, and for anyone that plays Hearthstone, you'll know that Pirate Warrior is insane. Like, it literally, sometimes you die on turn 5 of the game. No matter what you do, they just smash your face, and there's just nothing you can do. The other good card that I noticed as well is a 3-mana 3/3 called Gluttonous Ooze. This one's really good. It's the ability on it's a battle cry: destroy your opponent's weapon and gain armor equal to its attack. That is going to be brutally good against Pirate Warrior, because Pirate Warrior can play. They can do. There's a lot of abilities that they've got where they can buff their weapons, so their weapons can get to like 4 attack, 3 charge, and stuff like that. You play Gluttonous Ooze, they're losing the weapon, like the entire weapon, and you're sometimes gaining 4 armor back as well. That's going to see some play. Those 2 cards, I imagine, are going to see some play, and they might just run. I don't know if they're going to run Pirate Warrior completely out of the meta, but it might make people a little bit more hesitant to play Pirate Warrior, because people are going to run those. I'd be very surprised if those 2 cards don't get ran. And the Gluttonous Ooze is only an epic, and the Galactic Crawler is only a rare. So I mean, people are going to play those cards, because Pirate Warrior is still going to be a thing. Well, there's no doubt.
The thing that I found the most interesting about Gluttonous Ooze, and give me 1 second, I don't know if you checked out my stream at all, but I actually did manage to get the card up on stream. So one of the things that really interests me about Gluttonous Ooze is just in the last expansion we had Sewer Ooze, Toxic Sewer Ooze, and that was 3 mana, 4/3. And it removed 1 durability from your opponent's weapon, and that was it.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing that they would release a card like Toxic Sewers, which people actually did end up using, especially in Arena.
Yeah.
And then in the very next expansion, release this one, which is so much better. Like, so much better. Like, a ridiculous amount better.
That card I was talking about, those cards that the name left me before. One of them was Bloodsail Rider. South Sea Deckhand was the other one I was trying to find as well. South Sea Deckhand, those types of like 1-drop pirate cards are really, really good for getting patches out. But if people are going to be running Golaka Crawler on turn 2, that's going to change things up a little bit. Pirate Warrior is still going to be a thing. It's still going to be really annoying to deal with. Mm-hmm. But with those 2 cards, I think it might even it up a little bit as well. But to be honest, I can actually. It looks like looking at the new quest card for Warrior, it looks like they're going down the kind of taunt control buff style Warrior, because the quest card is summon 7 minions with taunt.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's a push to try and get people to stop playing Pirate Warrior, aggro Pirate Warrior, basically.
Well, I kind of agree with you, and I kind of don't. I feel like one of the things they're trying to do is they're really trying to sort of almost make every class have sort of an identity. So I just put up on the screen right now the Warrior class quest, which is called Fire Plume's Heart. So it's 1 mana, it's a quest, and then your quest is to play 7 taunt minions. Once you've done that, once you've completed your quest, and each class is going to get a different quest for warriors to play 7 taunt minions, you receive a reward. I think they sat there and they tried to think like, well, and let's never forget that in essence, Hearthstone is a card game about World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they constantly are thinking to themselves, well, how does this, like, what's the flavor of this in regards to Warcraft? And I think that in the case of Warriors, they thought, well, yeah, it does have 2 different DPS specs, but it is also sort of the main tank of the game.
True. Very true.
And I feel like taunt really has not been very represented throughout the course of Hearthstone's history.
No, definitely not. I mean, you sometimes, if you play a lot of Hearthstone like I do, and you sometimes see some warrior decks doing that kind of buff taunt warrior type thing where they'll try and buff like a public defender, which is a 2 mana 0/7. They'll try and buff that and then just like put that on the board, and then if you've got no way of removing it, they just basically win the game. But the problem with those decks was they were just a bit too unreliable. Basically, you had to get the buffs to land on the right thing, and they never really saw that much play. Now, I think that deck's going to be very, very strong, basically, and people are going to be trying their best to do it with this new with this new quest card mechanic that they're putting in. So yeah, there's some huge changes coming up. All of the quests are interesting, but the rogue one seems like the weakest in my humble opinion. It just doesn't even seem worth it to do it, and it's very tricky to do it. Basically,
I think that I don't know if I would say that it's not worth it. I would definitely agree that it may be pretty tough to do it. And why don't I pull that up just so we can see it on stream here, just to share. So the the Caverns Below is the name of the quest, and it's play 4 minions with the same name.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely is a lot tougher than just playing 7 taunt minions. Because I mean, normally you're limited to 2 minions, right?
Yeah.
Or two of the same card. But at the same time, I mean, Shadow Step is still going to be in the game, right?
Yeah, Shadow Step is still a youthful Brewmaster, and there's a Gadgets and Ferryman card there's a rogue card that never saw any play because it just wasn't very good. So yeah, there are ways of doing it, no doubt about that. There are definitely ways of doing it, but the reward is you get a Crystal Core spell, which is a 5 mana. For the rest of the game, your minions are 5/5. So literally, whatever you play, your minions are going to be 5/5. So, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's hard to make predictions on the meta before the meta's even started, basically, and it's hard to make predictions on the meta even up in the first month, because the first month of a new expansion is just warfare. Because no one knows what they're doing for that first month. You know, it's just complete madness. But I don't know if this is going to see much play. Basically, all your minions being 5/5, you're going to need to run a lot of 1-drops or anything under under 5/5 power to make it worth it. Basically,
I think that there's definitely some counterplay there. Yeah, I can't, Court. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll do this. Hang on. The Court is annoyed that it's not filling the frame properly here. I'll do this. That's as good as I can get it. Not without really messing with the settings a lot. Someone pointed out, okay, so Crystal Core plus Onyxia gives you a board full of 5/5s. That's pretty good.
That's true.
Someone pointed out that one card where you play, like if you play a spell on something, it summons a 1/1 plant that then receives a copy of that spell.
Yeah, that's one of the new rogue legendary cards, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it's a well, let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, no, I think I've got it in front of me here. I think it's
No, the rogue legendary is Sherazan Corpse Flower.
Oh,
so it's
Corpse
not that
Flower.
one.
Yeah,
But
that's an interesting card.
Well, wait. Well, let me get to what I was gonna get to though. But the point is, even with Crystal Core, okay, so all your minions are 5/5. That's great. But Rogue isn't exactly known as a class that can flood the board with minions, right? And unfortunately, the Druid class quest is to play X number of minions that have a power, an attack rating of 5 or more. So if you come up against a Druid, your quest is coming up against another class whose quest directly counters yours. Because you're going to be playing against a deck that is designed to have 5 power minions or more.
Exactly.
And I think that's where Crystal Core really falls down.
Yeah. I mean, that's a totally valid point. Yeah, the legendary card that I was talking about is it's called the Vorax. It's a neutral legendary. After you cast a spell on this minion, summon a 1/1 plant and cast another copy on it. That's quite an interesting legendary as well. There's some interesting cards in this expansion. That's why I'm excited. Like, I am very, very excited for this expansion. There's a lot of interesting stuff. Well, there's probably more interesting stuff than we're going to have enough time to discuss here, unfortunately, because there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I apologize. I'm just trying to get my there we go. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, like I said, I spent 2.5 hours talking about these cards yesterday, and there were some of them where I literally just blew through it, and I was like, this card is pack filler, and it's not worth talking about. Next, like, it's not even worth discussing this card, and I would just move on.
Yeah, and there is some pack filler in here because that's just that's just how Blizzard designs cards. Basically, there is just some cards that are they're just dust. Basically,
Yeah.
That's the yeah.
Now the one thing, and this is just sort of a general feeling on the matter. The one thing that I noticed is that some of the neutral cards seem really nice.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to describe, and again, it's like you said, it's hard to say looking forward to know what's going to happen 3 days into the future. We don't know how things are going to play out. I feel like the adapt mechanic is generally pretty good. It's not always utilized super well, but in general, it seems like it's a pretty good mechanic.
Yeah, I would say it's a good mechanic. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's an example of a neutral card here that I think is going to see quite a lot of play. Actually, it's Vicious Fledgling, 3 mana, 3/3. After this minion attacks a hero, adapt. The reason I think that's so good, basically, is because because you get a choice of 3 different things to adapt with, and is there 9 different adaptations, or is it
10.
6? 10. Wow.
There's 10.
Jeez.
There's 10 adaptations.
Yeah.
So real quick, just to explain, adapt is you choose There are 10 different adaptations, randomly selected when a minion adapts. The game will randomly select 3 of those 10. Then you have to choose one of those 3 choices. Let's see. So the 3 choices are +3 health, +3 attack, +1/+1, taunt, divine shield, cannot be targeted by spells, powers, hero powers, etc.
Yep.
Stealth, poisonous, and death rattle summon 2 1/1 creatures.
Yes, I mean that's pretty crazy. So I mean, if you play this Vicious
And Wind
Fledgling,
Fury, I must have miscounted because there's also Wind Fury.
yeah, there is Wind Fury. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe you added one there, possibly. Yeah, I think you did, but it doesn't matter. If you play Vicious Fledgling on turn 3 and you manage to get a hit, on your opponent's hero, which is totally possible, and you get stealth for that. Or you get, just any of the adaptations are just going to be really good, basically. I think this is one of my predictions for a card that's actually going to see play. Because if you get stealth and they can't remove it, and then you can attack them again, and then you get, like poison or +1/1 or taunt or divine shield, it's pretty mad.
I've got a better point for you. This is one of the neutral class cards that I was impressed with. It's only uncommon quality, so you'll see a fair bit of it. You ready? You play this on turn 3. Your opponent doesn't have an answer for it, or it's hidden behind a taunt, and it survives to turn 4. Mm-hmm. Turn 4, you attack, hit face. The adapt that pops up, you choose Wind Fury. Guess what you get to do? You get to attack again.
Yeah.
3 damage, boom, adapt into Wind Fury. Hit him a second time. I think that means you get another adapt. So now, all right, now I'll give it Divine Shield. Or now I'll give it +3 health. Or now I'll give it stealth, or whatever your choices are.
Yeah,
now,
exactly. Yeah.
It's worth mentioning that any adaptation that you want to put on, you only have about a 30% chance of getting. Because remember, there's 10 adaptations, and then 3 of those are chosen randomly from that pool of 10, and then you pick one of those 3. So you might not be able to get Wind Fury, but I mean, in a perfect world, that's a lot of juice for 3 mana.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, if you got Divine Shield and poisonous, I mean that I mean, because the thing is, you might not even play us on turn 3. Like, if you can find a way to like make it survive, like later on in the game, you could take out something really massive, like potentially. So yeah, that's one of the neutral cards that I'm impressed with. Yes, I mean it's the anti-pirate cards, the 2 anti-pirate cards, the vicious fledgling, and there's as far as I can see, from the neutral cards, there's a big push for Murlocs. Like quite a big, like there's 5 that I counted that are all fairly decent, and they all seem to be pushing Murloc style decks. The one that did catch my eye was the 7 mana Sated Thresh. Sorry, 7 mana 5/7 Death Rattle summon 3 1/1 Murlocs.
Wait a second.
That's gonna.
You like that card?
Yeah, I actually do like that. I actually do like that. Well, I like that. I like that card in relation to the if you're going to play it in a shaman deck, and the point in the shaman deck is summoning. Was it 6 Murlocs, or is it 8 or 10 Murlocs or something like
10.
that? Yeah,
10
and then
Murlocs.
you get that mega fin thing. I think it's interesting. I like Murloc decks. I like the aestheticness of them. There seems to be a push. Whether or not they're going to see play, I don't know, but it'll be. And you've also got Finja as well. I mean, remember that.
Yeah, that's true.
Finja's already a good card.
But I would have to double check this. Does Finja summon Murlocs, or does it put them into play? Because Finja may not trigger the Shaman class quest. So let me just pull it up.
Finja. That's very true.
Let me just pull that up real quick.
Yeah, Finja is whenever this attacks and kills a minion, summon 2 Murlocs from your deck.
Yeah, so I think the point in question would be, and of course that's not going to be sized right because it's not what I want. God damn it. Hang on 1 second. Just trying to make the show better for my viewers.
No problem at all. The viewers are the most important ones.
All right. Well, whatever. The important point on Finja is whenever this attacks and kills a minion, summon 2 Murlocs from your deck. And the Shaman class quest is to summon 10 Murlocs. So, okay, Finja will probably work. Finja will probably still be an effective card. But let's go back to the Ungoro card you talked about, Sated Threshodon.
Yes.
I mean, it might see play because people are trying to get the Murloc quest or the Shaman quest done where they have to summon 10 Murlocs. But otherwise, I think this card's a piece of shit. I think this is fucking terrible. I mean, if this was 6 mana, it'd be okay.
Yeah.
But 7 mana, like there is such a big difference in the quality of card from 5 to 6 and then from 6 to 7.
Yes.
That having 3/1/1s when you lose a 5/7 minion on the earliest you would have them in turn 8, that's not going to be as big of a difference. That's not going to make a huge that's not a huge counterplay. That's not a great benefit. One of the most valuable people have talked about like sticky minions, and that's like when it dies, it either comes back or it drops 1/1s on the board. The most powerful one being the Savannah Highmane from Hunters.
Yes. Yeah, Savannah Highmane's very good, yeah.
Right, so that's a 6-drop, but it summons 2 2/2 creatures. That's a lot better than 3/1/1s.
No, it is really good, but you also take into consideration they've also made Gentle Megasaur, the 4 mana 5/4 battle cry, adapt your Murlocs. If you've got a lot of Murlocs in play, and it's a big if you're going to be able to have a lot of Murlocs in play, and you adapt all your Murlocs, that's got to be pretty strong, I think.
Well, yeah,
depending on what you get with them.
But now here's the problem. This comes back to say the Threshodon.
Yeah.
If the idea is you want a card that's going to be able to do some damage and then drop Murlocs so that you can do something with the Murlocs, then the 7 health is actually a detriment. If you want a 7-drop that has some good stats with the benefit of also having Murlocs, then 5 attack for a 7-drop sucks.
That's very true.
I think if this was a 6 mana 6/6, it'd be good. I feel like if it was 7/5, it'd be good. I feel like if it was maybe a 4/7 with taunt, it'd be good. Like it just doesn't feel statted right to me. Because again, the idea being that this would be used to help you drop down Murlocs to complete your shaman quest. Okay, that's fine, but then the 7 health is a detriment.
That's true. That is true. I never thought about it from that way because I guess the idea behind this card was that you were getting kind of close to summoning the 10 Murlocs, and you play that on turn 7, and then by the time turn 7 comes around, the thing is that it's 5 health, so it makes the 5 health means it can be removed.
Well, it's 5 attacks, 7 health.
No, sorry, yeah, 5 attacks. So the 5 attack means it's vulnerable to priest, and it's vulnerable to like a lot of other things as well. But then again, if you hexed it, if it got hexed, and if you're playing shaman, then it wouldn't summon the 3 Murlocs. So yeah, you might be right. I might have possibly misread this card. I think you might be right. I think you might have schooled me there, Reverend.
Well,
I don't know if that's going to see play, but it's hard to say.
Yeah. And again, I was just giving my opinion. You know, I could be wrong. I feel like personally, Murlocs are going to be in a weird state. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with Murlocs is that they're losing anything can happen in the rotation.
That's a really, really good point. Yeah, I was going to mention that. The fact that that's being taken out is definitely going to change Murlocs up a little bit. I mean, they've added like they've added Rockpool Hunter, Battlecry Giver, Friendly Murloc 1/1, and they've also added in Primafin, Lookout, Battlecry. If you control another Murloc, discover a Murloc. So they're definitely pushing the Murloc thing. Like there's no doubt about that because these are all neutral cards. And then there's also a 2-mana Primafin Totem. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 Murloc. 2 mana 0/3. So there's a push for it, but whether or not it's going to work, I don't know. I think the elemental push is going to work a lot better than the Murlocs. But I'd like to see some Murlocs make a comeback. That would be nice.
Well, I think one of the things is I don't know if they're necessarily trying to make a push for Murlocs as they realize that with this rotation that's coming up, a lot of clans are going to really take it pretty hard. I expect to see right now Priest is in a very strong state, but yes. I expect to see Priest drop way down, and one of the reasons for that, dragons. A lot of powerful dragon synergy is going away, and it's not being replaced in this expansion.
Yeah, they're losing a lot of their early game, which was kind of the whole deal with Priest as well, because when you're playing Priest, you want to stay on the board. That's basically what you have to do, and they buff the hell out of those minions. Let's not even get started on
Talon Priest.
Oh, Talon Priest. Oh my God, that card, especially in Arena, that card is just broken. Seriously broken. But Priest are losing a lot of their early game, so yeah, I don't know what state Priest is going to be in. It'd be a shame if Priest.
Well, Dragon Priest is done. I mean,
yeah.
As of the 6th, Dragon Priest is done. The loss of Ezra Drake to Hall of Fame, and the loss of all of the dragons from the Blackrock Mountain adventure. Yeah. Dragon Priest is kaput. And to tie this back into the Murloc, I almost feel like what they did is they said, okay, all of these cards are going to be rotating on a standard. Let's try to buff certain clans. Obviously, Elemental is a big push.
Yep.
Obviously, Beast gets a massive boost this one with all the
huge push. Yeah.
They're like, well, do we want to put in dragons? And they're like, that doesn't make any sense. There's no dragons in Unguro. But
yeah. So
they decided to save Murlocs, and maybe next expansion we'll see dragons.
Yeah, probably. I imagine the one getting off the Murlocs a little bit. The one thing that I do like is that they really seem to they're giving Hunter the ability to kind of come back in a way that's quite nice, because Hunter's been in a kind of funny state for a little while now, and basically the only thing you could really play if you wanted to do very well was kind of like a sort of mid-rangey thing, or just like really heavy on the secrets.
Mm-hmm.
But the Hunter quest card is pretty solid. The Marsh Queen play 7 1-cost minions.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy to do as Hunter. That's not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
I don't think.
So yeah, the quest is the Marsh Queen plays 7 1-cost minions, and the reward is Queen Carnassa, who's a 5-mana 8/8, I think.
Yeah, 5-mana 8/8. Battle cry, shuffle 15 raptors into your deck. That's pretty good. That's pretty strong. And they've also got Dinomancy as well for Hunter cards. Your hero power becomes give a beast 2/2.
Yeah, I found that. I actually had that up before we started talking about the quest. Yeah, to completely change the Hunter hero power is an interesting switch.
It's very interesting, yeah. And they've got a lot of interesting Hunter cards. They've got Stampede as well. What 1-cost spell, epic. Whenever you play a beast this turn, add a random beast to your hand. There's a lot of interesting cards that are popping up for Hunter. Yeah, I think Hunter's going to be a force to be reckoned with when the expansion comes out. I really do.
Well, I mean, it hasn't been played for the last 3 or 4 months, so it's about time they had a little bit of a buff.
Yeah, I tried making some kind of a different Hunter deck on the ladder using Infest and stuff, and it just failed miserably. You have to play Secret Hunter, or you have to play a really expensive mid-range Hunter deck, basically. It's the only way you can actually find any success. Control Hunter just doesn't work.
Now, the funny thing I found is I was watching you play one morning, and again, just to remind everyone who might be watching, twitch.tv/Winbykayo. You should toss him a follow. It's a very interesting watch if you watch early in the morning Eastern Standard Time or midday-ish GMT, right?
Yeah.
Midday-ish, yeah. One of the things I found really interesting when I was watching you play one day is you were doing Arena and you drafted Hunter because you don't like the other 2 choices. You're like, I don't really like, I don't know how to play Priest, so I'm gonna go Hunter.
Yeah.
And then you ended up going like 5 and 3, I think.
Yeah, Hunter is really good in Arena. It's well, not really good, but I mean 5 and 3 in the arenas. I'm an Arena noob, so it was really good for me. But yeah, Hunter is surprisingly solid. I think it's the hero power really that makes Hunter very solid, because you can all you have to do is press that button 5 times and you've done 10 damage.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing Warlock, you're probably gonna win.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Warlock as a class. I've been on the Warlock train since the game's been released. I enjoy being able to use my health as a resource.
Sure.
Which is funny because when I played WoW, up until Legion, Warlock was not a class I enjoyed playing, but I love it in Hearthstone. I don't know.
Yeah, the new Warlock quest card is, I think, one of the most interesting ones. Actually, I'm really, really excited to try it. Was it Lakari Sacrifice? The new.
I'm just trying to pull that up. Probably misspelled that.
Yeah, it's Lakari Sacrifice quest. Yeah. Yeah, you're the host, you read it.
Yeah, no, I can't spell. I tried to put in only 1K, so. Yeah, discard 6 cards. They've been pushing the disco lock sort of, what do you want to call it? I don't know, archetype.
Yeah, archetype, yeah.
For a while, and my deck that I play on ladder most often is actually a disco curve lock. So it's basically a curve Warlock with heavy discard elements. And it's a deck I could never have played before Karazhan and the inclusion of Malchezaar's Imp, which lets you draw every time you discard.
Yeah, Malchezaar's Imp's a solid card.
I mean, basically, though, if I haven't won the game by turn 10 or 11, I've lost. because I'm using my life as a resource and I'm discarding cards. Between
exactly.
The summons and the soulfires. But so Lakari Sacrifice, I think one of the things that's most interesting about this is the reward is Nether Portal, which is a spell. You play it, and then you get this untargetable, unkillable minion on your board that has infinite health and no attack that summons 2 imps every single turn. Now, one of the things I find interesting about this is the developers, when they were talking about this Nether Portal, they said you can't do anything to it.
Yep.
They said the only way to get rid of it is to end the game. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. That's really, really insane. Just to be clear as well, I mean and it takes up a space on the board as well, which is why I'm most interested. I think I'm probably going to craft some kind of a warlock deck because I'm going to be opening cards about 50. I think I've got about I got that the early card deal. I think it's like 50 cards for £35 or something like that. So I got that. So I'm hoping that I've got enough. I'm going to be opening cards, and I'm hoping to get Lakari Sacrifice as one of the legendaries. But if I don't, I think I'm just going to craft it. But the portal, the Nether Portal, takes up a spot on the board, and then either side it's 2 3/2 minions.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insane. That's really, really good. And the fact that you can't silence the Nether Portal, you can't devolve it, you can't clear it with anything else. I mean, that's pretty good. And they've also thrown in as well the 4-mana 3/8 Lakari Fellhound taunt, a battle cry, discard 2 random cards. I mean, Warlock's already good at discarding cards, and they're giving it that as well. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another card that ties in well, and I was just about to pull up Nether Portal. Give me 1 second here. Another card that so since the Nether Portal summons imps every turn, another card, and this is a common that's going to be really interesting, is the Ravenous Pterodax. So 4 mana 4/4 and Battlecry, you destroy a friendly minion and then you get to adapt twice.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, I mean, in theory, and I don't know why my camera is bugging out. My camera's doing some funny things today. I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, you get that Nether Portal down, it's going to be summoning imps it's going to summon 2 imps every turn. You have a Ravenous Pterodax in your hand, bam, it just eats an imp, and you get like a 7/7, a 4 mana 7/7, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Or 4/4 stealth, or 4/4 poisonous, or 4/4 wind fury, or just anything. Yeah, I think because this is like you said, it's going to be disco lock, isn't it? I mean that's what they call it. I think that's gonna this and Hunter are going to be the new aggro decks, basically, because I can actually see these beating Pirate Warrior, basically, because that Lakari Fellhound is really, really good. That's a good anti aggro card. It's a 4 mana 3/8. 8 right. Is really that's going to be difficult for a lot of aggro based decks to get through, Pirate Warrior especially.
Yeah,
that's going to be an issue.
I mean, and especially if you have a deck that takes into mind that you're going to be discarding cards. The Lakari Fellhound, to discard 2 random cards, not a big deal. People play the Doomguard all the time. That it's a 5/7 charge, where you it's one of the more played cards in Warlock decks. So Warlocks are already used to playing around this discard mechanic, and I feel like this expansion is only going to go to improve the discard nature of Warlocks. One of the cards I wanted to bring up in that regard was Cruel Dynamancer. Cruel Dynamancer is an uncommon, so people are going to have it. I figure you play long enough, you're going to have every common. Uncommons, it's going to be a little less common, but people are going to have it.
Sure.
So 6 mana, 5/5, and it summons a random minion that you discarded this game. So let's say you do play that Lakari Fiend. What was it called? I'm sorry. The Lakari Fellhound.
Fellhound, yeah.
And it discards one of your big minions. Shit. Aha! Turn 6, Cruel Dynamancer. Now that big minion is on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, Warlock's going to be in a really good state. And also you've got the 2-mana 2/2 Clutch Mother Zavis, a legendary Warlock card. Whenever you discard this card, give it 2/2 and return it to your hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. And the thing is as well is that it's a 2-mana 2/2. You can keep that in your opening hand. I mean, you easily keep that in your opening hand. If you discard that if you discard that on to early, that's really, really good. And it also goes into the carry sacrifice quest as well. So yeah, Warlock's gonna be in a really, really good position. I'd be surprised if it doesn't do well in this expansion. I'd be really surprised.
Here's the thing that I find interesting, and I can't wait to find out. I know for a fact I'm gonna be spending the dust to craft Clutch Mother Zavis. If I don't get it in a pack, I'm crafting it. That's
sure.
I like playing Warlock, so this legendary is just too good for anyone who enjoys playing a discard Warlock deck.
Absolutely.
Now, the thing that I wonder is, okay, so let's say I play a card and Clutch Mother Zavis gets discarded. It gets discarded, it comes back to my hand, it's now a 2-mana 4/4, right? Gets discarded again, it comes back to my hand, it's now a 2-mana 6/6, right? Then I played the card we were talking about before, the Ravenous Pterodax, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. The Cruel Dynamancer.
Yeah, the Cruel Dynamancer, yeah.
Summon a random minion you discarded this game. Now, what I'm wondering is, does Clutch Mother Zavis have, since it came back to your hand, but it was still a card, that a minion that you discarded, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Cruel Dynamancer should be able to fetch Clutch Mother Zavis, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, it should be able to. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that could be insanely strong.
And here's the other question: does it summon a 2/2, or will it summon a 4/4, or will it summon a 6? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it'll. I think it'll because I'm not I'm kind of like an intermediate Hearthstone guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm still trying to get up to the kind of the pro level, so to speak. But my understanding of it, I think it's going to come back in its most recent form, basically. So if you discard it as a 6/6 or something like that, you're gonna get that back. I think. But.
I think we're gonna have to wait 3 more days to find out. Listen,
yeah.
I hate the fact that I've set my podcast to be a 1-hour thing, because sometimes we're on a roll, and I look down at the time like I just did, and I'm like, oh shit, it's 8:58.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also
sorry, go on.
I also know it's super late for you, so I don't want to keep you too long. It's a shame because we were kind of just getting rolling there, but we could be here for another 2.5 hours if we don't put some kind of limit on it. So. Yeah, and I found 1 hour seems to work out pretty well. But I don't mind going a little over. I've talked a lot. Is there anything that we didn't bring up that you really wanted to touch on before we go?
Yeah. Well, one quick thing is that something that I'm going to be trying out, and I got this off Kriparian. For people that don't know, I think he's probably the most successful Hearthstone Twitcher there is, isn't there? He's got about 12,000 people watching him play or something. Like, it's insane.
I mean, maybe at the start of the night, I've seen his numbers up to like 30,000.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, when Gadget's Hand came out, he had an unbelievable amount of people watching him just open cards all day. I think he played for like 14 hours straight or something. So, but he's talking about playing the card Devolve that Shaman has. I think that I'm going to be trying to do the same thing, because I play a little bit of Evolve Shaman, and I also include Devolve. Devolve basically just it's a 2-mana spell. Shaman card, and it reduces it transforms the all your opponent's cards down to ones that cost 1 less. Now, it may not sound like much, but if there's going to be a lot of adapt cards out there, I think devolve is going to be. That's how I'm going to be countering a lot of this adapt mechanics, basically, because that could be absolutely lethal. Like, really, like, not lethal damage, but like that could be really destructive. If someone like all those if you devolve that vicious fledgling after the minion attacks a hero adapt, if that gets too powerful, then just devolve, and then it's just a 3-mana 3/3 beast. That's a lot easier to deal with than a 3-mana 3/7 Wind Fury minion or something.
The one thing I would tell you to be careful of, okay, is this expansion has more taunt minions than I've ever seen in any other expansion.
Yes.
I think that's one thing that you're going to have to kind of be careful for and play around when you're playing. If you have big minions that are on the board, make sure you're getting your attacks in first. Before you devolve. I foresee that happening a lot, that you've got the enemy board is wide as well as big, and you think, well, let me devolve it and at least shrink it down. You might get a board that's pretty wide with 2 or 3 taunt minions scattered in there.
That's very true. I mean, I think also the silence cards are going to be really, really good as well. Definitely, people are going to be running. I've got a few predictions. I mean, I don't know if they're going to come true, but this is being recorded, so I guess we'll find out if I look like a dumbass in a month's time or something. But I think silence is good. People are going to be playing silence cards basically, because that's the best way to deal with one of these adapt cards without actually just killing it, basically. Just silence it, and then it just turns into just a very normal, because these adapt cards, they're statted appropriately. Most of them are, anyway. None are springing to mind that aren't, but a 3-mana 3/3, okay, the adapt makes it really good, but a 3-mana 3/3 by itself probably isn't really good enough to see much constructive play. But because it's got the adapt, then but if that gets silenced by something, then that's pretty good.
I think I agree with you for the most part. I think we're gonna have to wait to see how things play out, and I'm really excited for it. I know you're really excited for it, and
really excited, yeah.
Again, I think we could talk about this for another 2 hours, but
yeah, we could, we could.
I try to keep things nice, tight, 60 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wrap things up by saying, if you're watching, please make sure you're hitting follow, twitch.tv/DoseRhev. Also on beam.pro rev and YouTube. You can find me on YouTube by searching for DoseRhev. And also, please make sure if you're on Twitch, go to twitch.tv/Winbykayo and follow Kel. He is really entertaining to watch. And when you tune into his stream, he'll be in the middle of talking, even if there's no one in his channel. So...
yeah, thanks, man. You're too kind. But I've got like 53 Ungoro cards, packs of cards to open up on Thursday. So definitely swing by. Definitely swing by. I'll be opening a lot, and I'll be crafting something on the day as well. So I'll be playing one of these new decks. So yeah, come join me, guys. It'll be good.
Yeah, I will also be opening a ton of packs on the 6th. I also have I think another 2,600 gold. So if I don't get Clutch Mother Zavis, I might end up buying another 26 packs before I start trying to craft her. So
yeah, I might beat you to it, because I think I'm probably going to go Warlock as well. But we'll see what happens.
Well, thankfully you're on the European server, so I don't have to worry about you challenging me. So
that's true.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you the last word, and then we're going to say goodnight.
I really, really suck at last words, but I guess the only thing I can say is I am really, really looking forward to this expansion. Really looking forward to this expansion. It's going to be fantastic, and come spin by my Twitch channel sometime. Say hi.
All right, Cal. Have a great night. See you later, everyone.
See you guys.